Hey guys, Sarah from Sweet Scents from the Dollhouse. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome. If you're returning waxy, as always, welcome back. For my longtime subscribers, you guys know that I used to do daily home fragrance videos, and I very much enjoyed that. I very rarely took days off, but lately, with everything that's going on between upgrading and expanding my business, as well as what I've been dealing with in my personal life, I just haven't been the best version of myself. So after my last video, I first and foremost want to thank everybody for their support and their beautiful messages, but I couldn't do this unless I was going to bring you guys the best version of me, the happy, bubbly, got my shit together, Sarah. And unfortunately, not that I was being fake that whole time, in the last year and a bit that you've been watching these videos, but I've been dealing with a lot in my personal life in regards to the loss of a loved one. I know I've made mention of it before. I don't want to get into too many details, but shortly after the murder, I left the province. Not because I was running away from anything, just because I had previously agreed to representing my brother in civil court. So I had to fly to the province of British Columbia because I had a court date. I was on an open-ended ticket. I helped plan the funeral with his children over the phone and Skype. Obviously, with a sudden, horrific death like that, there was no will. He was only 51 years old. Very unexpected, very random. My ex was... Do you call them the ex when they die? Is it my ex? Was it my boyfriend? I don't even know what to call him now. If we were married, I would have called him my husband regardless. He wouldn't be my ex-husband, so I don't know why now he would be my ex-boyfriend or my ex-lover or whatever. He was the love of my life. And I had a future planned that involved him. And when all of a sudden it's like the rug gets ripped out from underneath you and everything you thought you knew is now going to be totally different. And the person that loves you no matter what, on my ugly days, on my fat days, on my miserable days, on my bitchy days, he loved me. He loved me when I was the absolute worst. And he adored me when I was at my best. So when that person is all of a sudden gone, I felt very lost for the last 3 years because I went out west and I helped plan the funeral. The girls were asking me, well, what do you think Dad would want? I gave them ideas and my opinions, but I was not able to be present at the funeral. My mom took my children, which was really important for closure for my girls. But I felt like I didn't get that closure. And it's not a good combination because I was unmedicated at the time. It's that typical bias about crazy people. They take the meds and they start to feel better. So all of a sudden we're like, I'm better, I don't need these anymore. Meanwhile, the meds are what's making us feel better. I was unmedicated for a while. I was unmedicated while all of this was going on. So I don't think I dealt with it properly because there was no closure. I started to get not hallucinations, but I would be driving by an intersection and think that I saw him standing on the corner and nearly cause a 6-car pileup in one of the busiest intersections in the city because I thought I saw him walking, like waiting to cross the street. Meanwhile, logical side of Sarah knew he never walked anywhere. He had a chauffeur, for goodness sakes. you know, because he didn't have license. So, I don't know. I felt like part of me was going crazy because I didn't get any closure. Shortly after the murder, somebody was arrested for the crime, and I don't even want to say his name because he's just a total waste of oxygen. On June 25th, 2015, he broke into the home. It was planned. It was a planned heist for money and whatever was in the house. He lived in an estate. It was very, very, very large. And when he woke up to somebody in his house, obviously he tried to fight him off and get him out, and it just was not good. I think for the past 3 years, I have all of these questions. Did he suffer? Was it quick? Did he know he was going to die? Did he suffer and die alone? Like, those questions have been eating me alive. So this person was charged with second-degree murder. And here in Canada, that's not a whole heck of a lot. If you're American and want to do more research or look into Canadian laws and how murderers here in Canada are treated, you would be appalled. There's a notorious case of a little girl named Tori Stafford who was murdered. She was kidnapped, abducted from her school by a woman, put in a car, driven out to the middle of nowhere. The woman helped her boyfriend rape the 9-year-old, bludgeoned her to death with a shovel. They even stopped at Home Hardware to get a shovel or whatever and garbage bags while the kid was still alive. They killed her and left her body out in the middle of nowhere, wherever they raped her. So she got the lighter sentence because she obviously turned and talked, you know. The man got the worst of the 2 sentences. But recently, it was discovered that Terry Lynn McClintock, the woman who abducted her, the woman who helped him rape her, and the woman who bludgeoned this baby to death, was at a healing lodge, taken out of prison and get like royal world-class spa treatment. I don't know. Whatever the hell a fucking healing lodge is, this murderer was at a healing lodge. Can you believe that? Not that I fully agree with the multi-billion-dollar prison systems in the United States, but there is a justice system in the United States of America. Here in Canada, we have a legal system. It's not a justice system, and it's a fucking joke. So, the person who stole my person, the person who left 2 beautiful, amazing young women orphaned without a dad, he got 6 years plus his time served, which is 3.5. Can you imagine 9.5 years for nearly cutting someone's head off in their own home? Hard to wrap my head around. Like, the judge even said there's absolutely nothing the justice system could do to bring peace of mind to his family. And when I really started to melt down in September, I reached out for help because I was not coping well. And you guys didn't see that in my videos, but you saw the videos getting less and less and less, and that's why. I had a nervous breakdown in my car one day. I couldn't drive the car. I didn't know why, couldn't explain it. I was hysterical. So I called a 1-800 mental health crisis number, and I had an appointment the very same day. They asked me, they told me all of the services that they offered and said it was absolutely up to me which ones I thought I wanted or which ones I thought I needed. And I said, I'll take them all. I'll take your psychiatrist, I'll take your case manager, I'll take your therapist, and I'll take the counselor. And then I'll decide, once I'm utilizing all of these services, which ones I need and which ones I don't, to get my life back on track, because I suddenly feel like I've absolutely lost it. It became so consuming. If you guys are familiar with the works of Charles Dickens, you know Great Expectations? I feel like Miss Havisham. Just, I'm not wearing a wedding dress. It's like time stopped. Sarah wasn't Sarah anymore. I'm just this shell playing these memories and playing these questions and what ifs and, you know, unanswered questions over and over and over in my head. And I'm not really living. I'm just moving with the motions of everybody else's life. I feel like I'm just kind of floating with them, but that's not healthy. It sure as hell wouldn't be what he would want for me. And I think as awful as the sentence was, as pathetic as the sentence was, to some degree, I don't think any number of years would have been appropriate. I think I would still be angry if it was 10 years, if it was 20 years, if it was 15 years, if it was 30, because they still wouldn't be here. So maybe the judge is right. Maybe there's nothing that the system can do to not bring me peace of mind, to bring actual justice. There's no number. It's not going to fix it for me. And then they have to read a statement of facts at the sentencing before the judge when there's a plea deal, and he pled guilty to the lesser charge. He wouldn't plead guilty to second-degree murder. He pled guilty to manslaughter. So they read the statement of facts, and I knew the cause of death, but I don't know if I stopped listening back in 2015 after they said the cause of death. It was like I was hearing the facts for the first time all over again. Perhaps because I'm going through therapy and counseling, I'm just more awake, if that makes sense, or more aware. And when they read the statement of facts, which included the autopsy report, there is no doubt in my mind that he suffered a brutal, horrific end. There is no question now that he died alone on the floor. There's no sugarcoating it now. And as strange as it seems, I'm filming this on Monday and it happened last Wednesday. It hasn't even been a week. As strange as it seems, my heart is not totally at peace. But I think I've made the conscious choice to close this chapter of my life, if that makes sense. And I can love him and remember him fondly, but I need to stop with the what ifs and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and I should have been there that night. You know, there was nothing that I could have done that would have changed the outcome of that, aside from died right beside him. He was a phenomenal person. And I think if there's one good thing that came out of that sentencing, It was seeing the girls in person. I've spoke to them over text message or email, kind of like messenger type things, but I haven't physically been able to see them in person in a very long time because I didn't want to force myself into their life or be a reminder of their father. They thanked me for being there that day. And they're coming over this weekend. And I can't tell you how excited I am to reconnect. I mean, Kristen was older, and I never really got to know her. But I mean, I taught the youngest one how to drive. You know, I did her makeup for semi-formals and got her ready, and I was the one that took her out to buy her strapless bra because he didn't know what he was doing. He was a single dad, right? They always looked forward to Sunday dinners where he'd make roast beef, but he was a bachelor, he would buy those like prefab roast beefs in the package and you microwave it in like a convection oven, you know? I would make like homemade from scratch dinners for them. Those are my fond memories, and I cannot wait to see the girls. And they're not girls anymore. They are fierce, amazing, independent women now. And both of them stood up and gave victim impact statements, and they stared down that piece of shit. Not one of them wavered. Sure, they had a little bit of tears, but they spoke so eloquently. They were so brave to not break their stare at that monster. And I was just in awe of them. I know for a fact that if he could have, he would have walked in that door, sat down beside me, put his arm around me, and lounged like he always did. He was always the cool cat. And I know for a fact he would have said, "Look at my girls. Aren't they amazing?" He would have been blown away by them. I'm blown away by them. And now, every time I don't feel brave, or if I miss him like crazy, or if I think about the monstrous ending to his life, I'm going to forever have that memory of those children standing up and giving their victim impact statements. $6.5 years plus time served is not enough. Canada's justice system is a joke. But for the first time in a long time, I have found something to look forward to, something to hold on to, you know. Maybe this will be my way of keeping him in my life, is by having a connection with his girls, and I am so excited about that. And there's other things happening in my life where I'm kind of like, I don't know if you guys believe in spirits or angels. Is this his way of pushing me out of this slump? You know? So weird how the universe works. But that's what's been going on, and I apologize for just going dead air for a while, but hopefully this explains where I've been at, why I've been such a nightmare, and I'm really happy to be back. So I'm going to get filming some videos in queue. I've got Scentsy Club coming up. I've got November's Part 1 empties. I have scent scores of Cozy Cardigan, some UK wax from Scentsy. So excited. So excited. And you know what was also a mega sign that Sarah was losing my marbles? I wasn't even interested in melting wax. What the hell? Can you believe it? So, again, thanks so much for your messages of kindness and understanding. You guys rock. You guys are the reason I do this, and I am super excited to bring you guys some amazing content. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.